Chapter 2 Cosmos. Is anyone out there? Since the beginning of time, human beings have gazed at the sky in awe and bewilderment, looking for answers to age-old mysteries. Who are we? How did we come into being? Are we alone in the universe? For millennia, human beings thought that the universe was controlled by supernatural beings. The ancient Chinese believed that an eclipse was caused by a dragon eating the sun. The Bushmen of Kalahari in Africa thought the Milky Way was the backbone of the night, holding the sky in place. People in Europe believed that the earth was flat. To the west was the Atlantic Ocean, which they thought was at the edge of the earth, with enormous waterfalls over which ships would fall and be destroyed. As civilizations flourished, people began to move away from myths and legends towards a more scientific temper. Almost 2000 years ago, Ptolemy, an ancient Greek astronomer, suggested that the earth was the center of the universe, and all heavenly bodies circled around it. Ptolemy's geocentric, earth-centered system dominated scientific thought for some 1,400 years. In the early 16th century, Copernicus placed the sun at the center of the solar system. A few years later, Galileo published his theory of the heliocentric, sun-centered solar system based on his astronomical observations. For challenging the accepted belief, he was accused of and punished for heresy. Johannes Kepler, a contemporary of Galileo, later established that the planets moved around the sun on elliptical orbits, an idea that eventually replaced the geocentric system. Though some Greek philosophers wrote that the earth was spherical in the 5th century BCE, it was only generally accepted during the Middle Ages from 1400 to 1600, making this period a time of adventure and exploration as people sailed around the world free of the fear of being washed over the edge. After the invention and development of the telescope, knowledge of the heavens grew by leaps and bounds. Galileo discovered craters on the moon, spots on the sun, and that the Milky Way consisted of numerous stars. Nearly 4,000 years before, however, ancient Indians had begun to study the movements of the planets and to calculate time, the duration of a day, week, months, and years. These calculations are found in ancient texts written between 1700 and 1100 BCE. By the end of the 1st century CE, Indian astronomers suggested that the stars were similar to the sun and that the earth was spherical in shape. In the 5th century BCE, Aryabhatta suggested that the earth rotated around its axis, a theory that Copernicus discovered centuries later during the Middle Ages. By the 20th century, man had started using rockets, space shuttles, satellites, and deep space probes to view Earth and our solar system from completely new perspectives. The American NASA sent out many satellites to orbit the Earth and explore the Moon and Mars. Russian cosmonaut Yuri A. Gagarin was the first human who orbited the Earth in 1961. And Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin were the first men to step on the moon in 1969. Since the late 1970s, several unmanned space probes have been sent out to explore our solar system. Spacecraft have landed on half a dozen worlds, while rovers have driven over the surfaces of the Moon and Mars. A flood of information is received from these probes as well as space observatories, such as the Hubble Space Telescope. Astronomers and scientists are making startling new discoveries about our universe. India too is at the forefront of space exploration with the capability of launching extraterrestrial missions and operating large fleets of artificial satellites. It has a very successful space program managed by the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. In October 2008, ISRO sent out its lunar space probe Chandrayaan-1, which was successful in finding water on the moon. Chandrayaan-2 has the target of exploring the south pole of the moon. Launched in July 2019, this mission is expected to last for 7 years. In November 5, 2013, ISRO launched Mangalyaan, India's first interplanetary mission, which crossed Earth's orbit successfully to observe and orbit Mars. Mangalyaan was designed for a 6-month program but successfully completed 7 years in 2021. Also known as the Mars Orbiter Mission, MOM, Mangalyaan took color images of the various morphological features and atmospheric phenomenon occurring on Mars, helping to map Mars Atlas. Hopefully, these missions will be able to answer some of the questions that have puzzled us for so long. Where do we come from? And how did it all begin? In time, perhaps after further exploration of the universe, we may finally get the answer to the question, is anyone out there? Human curiosity about our world has led to the development of scientific temper.